As a school leader, I'm sure you're aware that you could well face the news media at some point. Now, it could be an emergency that you have to talk to them about. It could be some major reputational issue like maybe bullying accusations, or it could be something more positive where you've got a major opportunity to get some really good messages out about the school. What I find with a lot of school leaders is they're fantastic communicators. The thing is, often they don't realise or don't know how to deal with a media interview. They don't realise that the media interview is a totally different ballgame. And the reason for that is that you'll talk to a reporter for this long, they'll pull this piece out, and that will be the whole story. It's not like a presentation where everyone hears everything, and so you can just answer their questions like you would any other situation. Let's just take one example. Let's say that there have been some major bullying allegations made against the school, and it was, there was something that went on and you dealt with it really well. And then a reporter might say to you, well, can you guarantee this won't happen again? And you say something like, I can't guarantee this won't happen again, but what I can guarantee is that we're doing all we can to stop it. And that's fantastic for a presentation, it's fantastic for a meeting with a parent or anything. The thing is, you can't say that in a media interview, because what will happen, or what could happen, is the reporter might just use the bit where you said you can't guarantee this not happening again. And then the whole story can be about the fact that this bullying might go on in your school, principal admits or board chair admits. And so while not all journalists will do that, it does happen, and I'm sure you've seen it. You may well even have colleagues that have been through this sort of thing. So that's just one of the traps you can fall into without even realising it. And now the reason I do this training is, well, I'm actually a former education reporter and a former government press secretary, so I've been on both sides of this. But the reason I do this is because I'm out there to stop good people getting into trouble with the media through no fault of their own. And it happens all the time. So basically, what can you do about it? Well, you basically need to do some media training, which is industry lingo for media interview training. Now, I do training specifically for school leaders. I've had a lot of people through my small group workshops, which are up to 6 people and last all day. That's the best way to learn this stuff, because realistically, to master this, you need to do mock interviews. And I know that scares a lot of people. The thing is, when you're around a few of your peers, again, you're all in the same boat, you'll find it's not as bad as all that, and you'll learn so much in that one day. It's the sort of thing, though, like I say, it's a practical skill, and so you have to practice it. You can't just read a book about it. A book's great to learn the theory, but you need to get on camera. And anyone that's done my course will say that's the case. Now, the training, basically, there's a number of things in the training, but how my training works anyway is that we go through one thing at a time, and then after each one, we get you on the chair and do a media interview. Okay, and they get a little bit harder as the day goes on, but they're never as full on as you'd think. You can ask anyone that's done the training, and I'm sure you probably do know some people that have done it, because it has been done by a lot of school leaders over the last few years. Okay, so initially what we do, we look at that initial approach from the media. Then we do cover body language too, because that's really important. If you do have some major incident causing death or something, your body language is hugely important on TV. Okay, then we look at how we prepare for the interview, and we come up with what we call our media message. We look at how to dress that up for the media. We look at how to answer questions and get our points into the media stories. That's the huge thing here. If you know what the media wants, you know how to dress your points up for them, you have a huge say in what the reporter actually uses in that story. And the big takeaway here is a media interview is not a Q&A. Okay, you are going to answer some questions, and we're going to predict what they may be, but you're going to be focused on your message and getting that into the story. There are a few options for you to take part in a media training workshop for school leaders. Now, firstly, I can come to your school and I can either do a full day with your senior management team, or I could do half a day with just 2 or 3 spokespeople from the school, because that's probably all you really are going to need. That's probably principal, board chair, and possibly someone else. The other thing that's actually becoming quite popular is me coming into the school for a whole day, doing half a day media training with those few people, and then doing a half day with the school leadership team on basically preparing to communicate in a crisis. And that's where we put together a crisis communication plan, which is how to deal with the media throughout a crisis, not just doing an interview, but actually welcoming media to the school when they turn up, dealing with social media complaints, contacting the media when you need to, this sort of thing. I do have a separate video on that you should be able to find, but if not, you can email me for more information. Now, the other options are I do occasional workshops for school leaders in Auckland, and they're those ones I mentioned earlier where it's up to 6 school leaders for a full day. The other option you have is to get a group together, maybe through a cluster or a community of learning or even an association. And as long as you get 6 people, I can come to you and do the training there. Now, the other thing is too, if you really are dead against coming to a workshop, or you don't think you can spare the time, or you're geographically remote, I do have an online course that does include mock interviews through your webcam, because it's very important that any media training you do has that practical element to it. So if that's of interest, you can email me as well. So look, there are some options for you. I'm going to put my email address up next and my phone contact number. So if you have any questions about this or would like to get something organised for your school or for you to come along to something, just contact me and we can take it from there.